The snowstorm had swallowed the whole town that night. Wind roared like a wounded beast, slamming against the windows of Maple Diner, the only place still open past midnight. The heater struggled, coughing warm air into a room that smelled of coffee, hope, and exhaustion. Kathrine wiped her hands on her red apron and forced a smile. Another long shift. Another night alone. She had dreams, once big ones, but life had a way of teaching some people to survive first and dream later. Tonight was one of those nights. She was refilling cups when the glass door suddenly swung open with a sharp whoosh. Snow blew in, followed by two boys shivering, soaked, and trembling. One was around 7, wrapped in an oversized orange jacket. The younger one, maybe 5, clutched his brother's sleeve, his yellow hoodie wet and freezing. Kathrine's heart stopped. "Sweethearts, what happened to you?" She rushed toward them. The elder boy swallowed hard. Can we just stay inside for a bit? We won't cause trouble." Her chest tightened. They're freezing and starving. The diner was empty. No manager, no rules to stop her. Just her humanity. "Of course," she whispered. "Come sit, you're safe here." She guided them into a corner booth, the warmest spot she knew, and hurried to grab towels, hot cocoa, anything. As the boys curled together, she noticed their lips were trembling. They smelled like cold wind and loneliness. Kathrine placed 2 steaming bowls of soup in front of them. The younger boy looked up, wide-eyed. We don't have money." Kathrine smiled softly. "Who said anything about money? Eat, please." For the first time that night, the diner felt warm. The older boy took a spoonful, tears forming. "Thank you, miss." "No one else let us in." Kathrine clenched her jaw. What kind of world turns away children on a night like this? She stayed beside them, rubbing their hands to warm them, listening to their sniffles and little breaths. As they ate quietly, something unexpected happened. She felt peace, purpose, like she was exactly where she was meant to be. But the moment shattered when the diner door chimed again. A tall man in a slate blue overcoat stepped inside. His presence was sharp, commanding, like he walked in with the storm itself. His eyes, cold, tired, calculating, fell directly on Kathrine. And then on the 2 boys. His jaw tightened. Kathrine felt her pulse skip. There was something dangerous. Something powerful in the way he watched them. The boys froze. Even the wind outside seemed to stop. The man began walking toward them, slowly, deliberately. Kathrine stood protectively in front of the kids. "Sir, can I help you?" she asked, hiding the tremble in her voice. The man didn't blink. For the first time he spoke low, deep, and intense. "What are my sons doing here? And why are you protecting them?" Kathrine's breath caught. Sons? Her whole world tilted. Before she could reply, the man stepped closer, his expression unreadable. Then he said the sentence that would change her entire life. "I'm Arjun. And by tomorrow, the world will know you as my wife." Kathrine felt her heart explode in her chest. The boys looked up at her, hopeful, afraid, confused, and the snow outside kept falling. Because this was only the beginning. Kathrine felt the entire diner spinning around her. Wife? His sons? What kind of situation have I walked into? Her body stood frozen, but her mind screamed. The 2 boys stared at Arjun like they were seeing a ghost, not with joy, not with fear, with something far more complicated. Arjun's expensive shoes clicked against the checkered diner floor as he approached the booth. Snow melted off his long coat, dripping onto the tiles, every step echoing with authority. "Kathrine," he said, voice controlled but shaking underneath, "step aside." She instinctively moved closer to the boys, shielding them with her arm. "No," it came out stronger than she expected. "You can't just walk in here and claim children." "I don't know who you are." Arjun's eyes flickered, anger, pain, and something she couldn't decipher. He exhaled sharply. "I'm their father?" The older boy lowered his gaze. The younger one hugged the bowl like it was a shield. Kathrine felt tension clawing at her ribs. "Then why are they out here alone?" she asked. Arjun paused. And for a moment the strong CEO looked human, broken even. "That," he said quietly, "is what I need to know." He knelt beside his sons, leveling himself with their eyes. "Ryan, Leo." "Look at me," the elder boy, Ryan, trembled. Leo hid behind his brother. "Dad," Ryan whispered, "we thought You wouldn't come. Arjun's expression shattered just for a second. I was looking everywhere, he said, his voice thick. Your nanny vanished? Your driver's phone was switched off? My entire security team failed me tonight. Kathrine watched him closely. This wasn't the cold, heartless CEO she imagined when he walked in. This was a father on the verge of collapse. Ryan spoke again, almost in a whisper. So we walked. Kathrine gasped. Walked? In this weather? From where? Leo sniffled. From home. Arjun closed his eyes, pain slicing through him. Kathrine's anger softened not much, but enough to see truth in him. He stood up and faced her again. You saved them, he said. I owe you everything, she shook her head. I just did what anyone should, Arjun smiled weakly. You'd be surprised, Miss Kathrine. Very few people help when no one is watching. Her breath caught, he knew her name. How do you... Arjun cut her off gently. I've been to this diner before. I've seen your kindness. I've watched you defend that old man customers mocked last week. And I saw you give free coffee to the homeless woman outside 2 days ago. Kathrine stared at him, stunned. You noticed me? Arjun stepped closer. I noticed everything about you. Her cheeks warmed, and she couldn't look away from his eyes. Eyes suddenly soft, not icy like before. You keep asking why I said you'll be my wife tomorrow, he continued. She blinked, heart racing. That wasn't a threat, Arjun said. It was desperation. Kathrine's breath caught. Desperation? For what? For someone who can protect my boys. His voice broke slightly. In ways no one in my world ever has. The diner went silent. The snow, the lights, the world beyond the windows blurred. Kathrine felt something stirring inside her, fear, shock, uncertainty. And something warm. Arjun extended a hand slowly, not demanding, not forceful. Come with me, he said softly. I'll explain everything. I promise you're safe. Kathrine hesitated. Ryan tugged her sleeve gently. Miss Kathrine, please come. We don't want to leave you. Leo nodded, clutching her apron. Her heart melted. Arjun waited, breath held. Eyes fixed on her, Kathrine inhaled deeply. And finally whispered, I'll come. Arjun exhaled like he'd been drowning and she'd pulled him out. He opened the door for her as the boys followed, clinging to her hands. Outside, the storm raged, but inside Kathrine's heart, a new story had already begun. The SUV glided through the blizzard like a silent beast, its headlights carving tunnels through the white darkness. Inside, the heater hummed softly. Ryan leaned against Kathrine's shoulder, half asleep. Little Leo curled into her side, gripping her apron like a lifeline. Arjun kept glancing at them through the rearview mirror, especially at Kathrine. She could feel the weight of his gaze, but it wasn't uncomfortable, just heavy, full of thoughts he wasn't saying. After 20 minutes, tall iron gates emerged through the swirling snow. Kathrine's eyes widened. This wasn't a house. It was an estate. Warm lights glowed from massive windows, a fountain frozen mid-splash stood in the courtyard, and guards opened the gate the moment the SUV approached. Ryan murmured, "We're home," and closed his eyes again. Leo slept before they even entered the driveway. Arjun parked and stepped out first, opening the back door for her. Kathrine lifted Leo gently, and Arjun carried Ryan careful, protective, like a father terrified of losing them again. Inside, the mansion was warm, quiet, and dripping with luxury. Crystal chandeliers, marble floors, portraits lined the hallway. But what caught Kathrine's attention first was something else, a picture of Arjun, and a woman, a beautiful woman. The boys in her arms. Her heart sank a little, though she didn't know why. Arjun noticed her looking. He paused, then said quietly, "That's their mother." Kathrine swallowed. "She's beautiful." Arjun nodded, eyes darkening. "She died 3 years ago." A silence fell between them, gentle, respectful. Kathrine whispered, "I'm sorry." Arjun's jaw tightened. "I should have protected her. I failed." Kathrine shook her head softly. "Some things aren't in our control." For a moment, Arjun stared at her like her words were the first piece of peace he'd been offered in years. He exhaled deeply. "Come, I need to talk to you." The office, where truth lived, he led her into a massive room with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking snow-covered gardens. A fire crackled in the fireplace. Arjun stood by the mantel, hands in pockets, back slightly bent, not like a powerful CEO, like a tired man. "Kathrine," he said finally, "do you know why my boys were on the streets tonight?" She shook her head. "You said the nanny disappeared?" Arjun nodded slowly. "And the driver vanished too. They weren't kidnapped. They were paid to leave." Kathrine's eyes widened. "Paid? By who?" Arjun's voice sharpened. "People who want my company. People who know the only weakness I have is my children." Kathrine felt her stomach twist. "But what does that have to do with me?" Arjun looked straight into her eyes. "For months, I've been searching for someone trustworthy. Someone who doesn't want money, power, or my name. Someone who treats my sons like humans, not steps to climb status." Her breath stilled. "And tonight," Arjun continued, "I found her, you." Kathrine's chest tightened. "No one had ever spoken about her like that. You protected them without knowing who they were. You fed them without expecting anything. You risked your job for them." His voice softened. "My wife had that same heart." Kathrine felt tears prick her eyes. Arjun took one step closer. "That's why I said what I said. Not because I want to own you, but because I need someone like you in their lives, someone pure." Her cheeks warmed. She whispered, "But marriage? Why so suddenly?" Arjun hesitated. Then he walked to his desk, opened a drawer, and pulled out a thick document. He placed it in front of her. She saw the title, and her heart nearly stopped. "Custody hearing, tomorrow 9 a.m. Her hand flew to her mouth. "You're going to lose them?" She whispered. Arjun nodded slowly. "My late wife's parents. They want full custody. They claim I'm unfit. Too busy, too powerful, too cold." Kathrine felt her heart ache for him. "And if I lose," his voice cracked, "my sons will be taken away, permanently." Her eyes glistened. "Arjun?" He met her gaze, vulnerable, desperate. "Kathrine, the court sees me as an emotionless CEO. I need stability. I need a proper home. I need a partner by my side." His next words fell like thunder. "If I walk into that court with you, a woman who saved my sons, I stand a chance?" Kathrine's breath shook. "And if you don't?" she whispered. Arjun closed his eyes. "I lose the only family I have left." The fire crackled. Snow fell outside. And Kathrine realized something. This wasn't a story about wealth. It was about a father's love. And the question she had to answer could change all their lives. Would she stand beside him tomorrow, as his wife? Kathrine stared at the custody papers on Arjun's polished desk. The words blurred. "Hearing at 9 a.m. Petition for full custody. Father deemed emotionally unavailable." Every line felt like a punch. She looked up at Arjun, this powerful man who suddenly looked small, lost, almost afraid. "Arjun," she whispered, "why didn't you tell anyone earlier? Your lawyers? Social workers?" His laugh was hollow. "They don't care about love or protection. They care about reputation, and my reputation," he paused, "isn't exactly gentle." Kathrine understood. His eyes were hard, his posture perfect, his voice commanding. People saw a CEO, not a father. Arjun stepped closer, slowly, carefully, as if he didn't want to scare her. "Kathrine," he began softly, "I know how insane this sounds. Asking you to help me, asking you to stand beside me, asking you to be," he swallowed hard, "my wife." Her heart skipped. "I'm not asking for a love story," he said. "Not asking for promises or miracles." He looked straight into her soul. "I'm asking for a chance to keep my sons." Kathrine felt something deep inside her soften, because she knew the ache of being alone, of losing family, of being unseen. "I don't expect anything from you," Arjun continued. "Not money, not status. I'll sign whatever agreement you want. You'll have your independence. But if you walk into that courtroom beside me, the judges will see stability, warmth, compassion. And they will see you as more than just a CEO," she whispered. Arjun nodded. His voice dropped to a whisper. "They will see me as a father." The words hung in the air like fragile glass. Kathrine turned away, walking toward the massive window overlooking the snowy garden. Her reflection stared back at her, just a simple waitress in a borrowed warmth of a mansion. "What if I make things worse for you?" she asked. "I'm nothing special." Arjun walked to her side, but he didn't touch her. He kept a respectful distance. "You are exactly what's special," he said quietly. "No motives, no hidden agenda, just kindness." She blinked hard, emotions rising in her throat. "How long would this marriage last?" she whispered. "As long as you want," Arjun replied. "A few months, a year, enough for custody to stabilize. After that, if you wish, we can part ways." His voice wavered slightly on the last phrase. Kathrine didn't know why, but hearing him talk about parting ways made something inside her twist painfully. "And your sons?" she asked. His eyes softened instantly. "They adore you already." He smiled faintly. "Ryan won't even sleep without the scarf you wrapped around him." Kathrine didn't expect her heart to melt like that. Arjun took a slow breath. "Let me show you something." He led her down a quiet hallway to a small room. Inside, there was a piano, framed drawings, small shoes lined on the floor. A room filled with memories. "This was their mother's favorite place," Arjun said. "She was gentle like you." Kathrine touched a drawing, a scribbled heart with 3 figures inside it. Ryan had written, "Me, Leo, and Daddy," but there was a 4th figure drawn faintly in the corner, unfinished. "We couldn't ever complete this," Arjun said softly. "Something always felt missing." Leo's small voice suddenly echoed from behind them. "Miss Kathrine?" They turned. He stood rubbing his eyes, sleepy, holding the hem of her apron. "Are you gonna leave?" he whispered. Kathrine knelt so she was eye level. "No, sweetheart. I'm right here." Leo leaned into her arms like he belonged there. Arjun watched, something breaking and healing in his eyes at the same time. Ryan came too, dragging his blanket. "When Mom died," Ryan said quietly, "Dad stopped smiling. But today, he smiled when he saw you." Kathrine's throat tightened. Arjun closed his eyes, pain and longing flickering in his expression. Kathrine stood, still holding Leo, Ryan leaning on her side. Arjun faced her. His voice was barely a breath. "Will you help me tomorrow?" Time seemed to stop. Kathrine looked at the boys, warm, trusting, fragile. She looked at Arjun, strong on the outside, breaking inside. She looked at herself alone, unnoticed, but for once, needed. She took a deep breath and whispered, "Yes, Arjun, I'll stand with you." Arjun exhaled like he'd been drowning. Ryan smiled for the first time that day. Leo hugged her tighter. The storm outside began to calm. Arjun whispered, voice trembling, "Thank you, Kathrine. You just saved us." But none of them knew. Tomorrow morning would bring a twist none of them were prepared for. The next morning arrived far too quickly. Kathrine barely slept, not because the mansion was too big or the bed too soft, but because her life had changed in hours, from a waitress to the woman standing beside a CEO in the biggest fight of his life. She dressed simply light blue dress, soft curls, nothing extravagant. But when she stepped out of the guest room, she found Arjun waiting. He froze. "You look—" He stopped, searching for words that didn't cross lines. "Perfect," he finished quietly. Her cheeks warmed. Ryan and Leo ran into her legs, excited. "Miss Kathrine!" "We saved you a seat in the car?" Arjun smiled genuinely. A smile that made Kathrine's heart flutter in ways she didn't expect. But the moment faded as soon as they reached the courthouse, because standing at the entrance were the grandparents. Tall, elegant, wealthy, the grandmother wore diamonds. The grandfather carried a cane that looked more expensive than the diner Kathrine worked in. Their eyes landed on Kathrine, judging, scanning, dismissive. The grandmother whispered loudly enough to be heard, "This is the woman he brought? A waitress?" The words cut, but Kathrine didn't flinch. She straightened her shoulders, remembering the boy's small hands in hers the night before. Arjun stepped closer to her. "You don't owe them anything," he murmured. "Just be yourself." She nodded, though her heart raced. Inside the courtroom, the atmosphere was heavy. Wooden benches, a stern judge, lawyers on both sides. Ryan and Leo sat in the front row with a guard, eyes anxious but hopeful every time they glanced at Kathrine. Court began. The grandparent's lawyer stood first. Your Honor, we seek full custody. Mr. Arjun is emotionally unavailable, works endlessly, and neglects the children. Last night, the boys were found wandering alone in a snowstorm. This proves his failure as a parent. The courtroom buzzed. Kathrine glanced at Arjun. His jaw clenched, but he stayed silent. Her heart ached for him. Then it was Arjun's turn. His lawyer stood. Your Honor, Mr. Arjun is a dedicated father. The boys wandered out because their nanny and driver abandoned them, unexpectedly sabotaged by external forces. Prove it, the grandparent's lawyer snapped. Arjun's lawyer hesitated. Before he could speak, the judge leaned forward. Mr. Arjun, does the court have any evidence of a stable home environment? Arjun stood slowly. Yes, Your Honor, he said. And then he looked at Kathrine. The courtroom turned. Kathrine's heart stopped. This was the moment. Arjun extended his hand slightly toward her, not touching, just inviting. Your Honor, he said, voice steady, this is Kathrine. The woman who saved my sons last night. The woman who brought them warmth when the world turned them away. The woman who stood by them when they had no one. Whispers filled the room. Kathrine stood breathless. Arjun continued, voice deepening, she is not part of my world. She gains nothing from helping me, but she did because of her heart. And yesterday I asked her to join my family, to give my sons the home they deserve. The grandparents shot up. This is ridiculous. She's a nobody. The judge banged the gavel. Silence. All eyes returned to Kathrine. The judge spoke gently. Miss Kathrine, please step forward. Her knees trembled, but she walked slow, graceful, brave. Arjun's eyes never left her. The judge asked, do you wish to say anything? Kathrine inhaled shakily. Then she looked at Ryan and Leo, their small faces, their hopeful eyes. She turned to the judge. Yes, Your Honor. Silence gripped the courtroom. I'm not rich, she began. I'm not educated like them. I'm not important in the world's eyes. Arjun's eyes softened. But last night, when two freezing boys walked into my diner, I didn't see status or money. Her voice wavered. I saw children who needed love. The judge listened closely. I would have protected any child that night, but these two... She glanced at them. They touched my heart. They trusted me. They clung to me. They made me feel like family. Ryan wiped a tear. Leo hugged his blanket. And their father. She continued, turning to Arjun. Loves them more than he knows how to show. He's not cold. He's hurting. Losing his wife broke him. But he is trying every day to be better for them. Arjun blinked hard, fighting emotion. Kathrine finished softly. If you take those children away from him, you will break a family that is already healing. A hush fell. Even the grandparents went silent. The judge leaned back, eyes thoughtful. For a long moment, nothing moved. Then he said, Thank you, Miss Kathrine. Arjun exhaled. The grandparents shifted nervously. But what no one expected was what the judge said next. The court will hear the final decision after a short recess. Everyone may step outside. Arjun's hand brushed Kathrine's briefly. Just a touch. A silent thank you. The boys ran to her, hugging her legs. But the grandparents? They stepped aside, plotting, whispering, eyes sharp as knives, because they weren't done fighting, and what they planned next would shake everything. The courthouse hallway buzzed with whispers, tension, and quiet footsteps. Kathrine stood near a pillar, Ryan holding her hand tight while Leo hugged her waist. Arjun stood just inches away, but his eyes remained focused on the courtroom doors. This was it. Everything depended on what the judge would decide. Suddenly, the grandparents walked toward them, faces tight with anger and determination. The grandmother's voice cut through the hallway like cold steel. You think you've won? Bringing a waitress to stand beside you? Pathetic. Arjun stepped forward protectively. What are you planning now? He asked, voice sharp. The grandfather's lips curled. You don't deserve these children, he hissed. You're a businessman, not a father. And her, he pointed at Kathrine. She's nothing. A nobody you found in a diner. Kathrine's heart hammered, but she didn't look away. Say what you want about me, she said quietly. But don't talk about the boys like objects. The grandmother scoffed. You think this is about the boys? It's about legacy. Our daughter's name. Our bloodline. Arjun's jaw tightened. Your daughter married me, he said. She loved me, and she trusted me with our children. The grandmother snapped. She wouldn't have wanted her raising them. Kathrine's breath caught. Arjun took a step forward, eyes blazing. You don't know what she would have wanted. Because you never cared about her happiness, only about your pride. The grandparents froze, shocked. Arjun had never raised his voice like that. Before anything else could happen, the court clerk opened the door. The judge is ready. A hush fell. Ryan squeezed Kathrine's fingers. Leo whispered, Don't leave, okay? I'm right here, she said softly. The courtroom final judgment, everyone returned to their seats. Arjun stood tall, Kathrine beside him. The grandparents sat stiff and cold. The judge glanced at the file, then at the family standing before him. I have reviewed all testimonies, he began, and I've listened carefully to every word spoken earlier. Kathrine held her breath. The judge continued, Mr. Arjun may be a busy man, but he has shown that he deeply loves his children. There is no evidence of abuse, neglect, or danger. The grandmother's face twisted. The judge looked at her sharply. However, the sabotage involving the nanny and driver suggests malicious interference from a third party. This requires investigation. Arjun closed his eyes in relief. Then came the final words. Therefore, the court grants full custody to the father, Mr. Arjun, Leo gasped. Ryan smiled through tears. Arjun's shoulders dropped with overwhelming relief. But the judge wasn't finished. Additionally, he said, eyes softening, I acknowledge the crucial role Miss Kathrine played last night. Her genuine care and intervention saved these children from harm. Kathrine swallowed hard. In light of this, I strongly encourage Mr. Arjun to keep Miss Kathrine in the children's lives, as her presence clearly brings them emotional stability. Arjun turned to her, eyes shining with gratitude. The judge banged the gavel. Court adjourned. After the decision, truth and feelings, the moment they stepped outside, the boys ran into Kathrine's arms. We stay with Dad, Ryan cried. And with you, Leo shouted. Kathrine hugged them tightly, tears finally escaping down her cheeks. Arjun stood a few steps behind, watching them, his family, and something warm and unfamiliar tugged at his heart. He walked closer. You saved us, he said quietly. I don't have enough words to thank you. Kathrine wiped her eyes. I just did what felt right. Arjun hesitated, then smiled gently. Will you stay with us a little longer? His voice was hopeful, almost nervous. The boys would like that. And if I'm being honest, so would I. Kathrine's heart fluttered. Are you asking me to stay as their caretaker? She teased softly. Arjun looked into her eyes, deep, sincere, vulnerable. No, he said, as their future. Her breath caught. Ryan tugged her sleeve. Dad said he smiled because of you, Leo added. Can you be our mom? Kathrine's chest tightened with emotion. She looked at Arjun, tall, warm-eyed, hopeful. You don't have to answer now, he said gently. Take your time. Just don't disappear from our lives. Kathrine smiled softly. I'm not going anywhere. Arjun's eyes glowed with relief. He extended his hand. This time, she took it without hesitation. Outside, snow began to fall again, not like a storm, but like blessings from the sky. A new family formed that day. Not by blood, not by force, but by love, kindness, and destiny.